Hey guys, Georgia Boy here. Yesterday, Preacher did a live chat on predator calling, and he had a bunch of, hand-mouth calls, different types. He went through them all, explained them all, demonstrated them all. It's a great video. If you missed that, you need to check it out. Preacher's day off. And then one of the things that come up was electronic calls for calling coyotes and varmints or whatever, predators. And one place he was talking about where they shine, electronic calls, was in calling crows. And I agree. I got this little wood crow call when I was a kid. It's a great one. And but 21 years ago, something like that, 22, about the time I got married, me and my father-in-law were out one Saturday and had a couple of these, and we shot a few crows, and he said, you know, I've got an old record player game caller somewhere in all my junk. And so he dug it out, and sure enough, the next Saturday he came out with this big green box, hard case box, said game caller or something on it, and you open it up, and inside it was a record player, and he had a 45 record of a crow and hawk fight, and you had the cable that plugged into the record player, big long cable that had a big speaker on the end of it you could run out and hang in a tree. So the next Saturday he got that thing out, and we went and bought about $40 worth of D-cell batteries, it seemed like, to fill that thing up. And he had 4 or 5 places lined up. And we went and shot crows with it, and it worked great. We were hammering some crows. And the funny thing is, the old record player, it would get hung up, and it'd start to skip and play the same thing over and over, and you'd have to kick it. All the time you're blasting away at these crows, you'd have to kick the record player to get it to move on, and keep playing. And that was hilarious. We had a great time. And he passed away a year or two ago, and I don't know what happened to it. I wished I had it. I don't think I'd want to use it or drag that heavy thing around or buy batteries for it, but it would be cool to have down here in the man cave. But anyway, after shooting those crows with that old record player, that led me to go buy this. It's a Fox Pro digital call. Now, I bought this in the late 90s, I guess. And Fox Pro's a big name on the block now, but back then, nobody knew of them. And I'm pretty sure this is the first model that they ever put out. It's the FP38, and I've kept the box and all the stuff. It's probably collectible itself now, and you can see how small it is. It's about like one of those little flashlights. Now they're bigger and digital and remote and all, but I think I got this for about 70 bucks. I bought a little adapter where I could change the sounds on it. It comes with 8 sounds programmed. Selector knob on the back, on off volume here on the front. No remote, but it has a delay switch, a 1-minute delay. That way you could set it down. You had a minute to back up and get where you wanted to before it would start calling. But one of the sounds I put on it was a crow hawk fight. And I don't want to turn it on loud because it is real loud. But anyway, one of the things he told me was back in the 60s when he got that record player caller, back then, out in the country, if you went out in the country, especially down here in the South, every 4 or 5 miles was another country church. Maybe Baptist, Methodist, a holiness church. Not many Presbyterians. The Presbyterians stayed in town. Now, I guess they were scared to venture out, but you could go out in the country every 4 or 5 miles. There's another country church, And back then, in the 60s, nobody's around during the week. Some of them even still had outhouses sitting out back of the church. And so what they would do is go from church to church, and they'd go around back, set up, shoot crows for 30 minutes behind the outhouse, load back up, go down the road to the next one, do the same thing, and they'd make a day of it. Well, this morning, what I had planned is I had to take my oldest son to the asthma doctor, then take him back to school. Then I had to go by the church to pick up some stuff. And I took this with me, and I was going to get down behind the church and call some crows. We got about 8 acres of just briars and thick pines. But we were supposed to get snow. Instead of snow, we got rain today. So I got rained out, and I wasn't able to do it. But that got me to thinking on my way home, I bet we can call up a coyote or a little fox or something back there behind the church. And I'd love to get me another red fox. So when all this rain gets out, and it's supposed to rain for a week nearly, but when that gets over with, maybe my next video, we'll be doing some predator hunting and predator calling behind the church. So be on the lookout for that video. Maybe I can make that happen. And that ought to be fun, especially if we can get something to come in besides somebody's dog. But if you hadn't seen it, check out Preacher's video on predator calls and calling and the different types. And maybe in the next week or two, we can get behind my church and see what we can call up. You guys take care, stay warm, and have a good day.